Billie Eilish is one of Hollywood's hottest new stars. However, like a lot of other stars these days, she has been a part of a lot of scandals in her past, some even involving fellow celebrities. And today on Beyond the Screen, we're going to be breaking down the celebrities who tried to warn us about Billie Eilish. I'm Mackenzie Smith, and make sure to subscribe if you're new here. First up, we got Bad Baby. Believe it or not, but Billie Eilish and Danielle Bregoli, aka Bad Baby, used to be really close. So close that people even speculated the two could be dating at one point, because of photos online of them together. But Billie denied those rumors, calling Danielle her baby sister. But sadly, their friendship turned into drama when Danielle called out Billie on Instagram Live. While Danielle was on Live, fans started asking about her relationship with Billie. One even wanted to know if they were still friends. Danielle gave a confused reply, saying, quote, "I think I'm friends with Billie. I don't know if Billie is my friend. Every time I DM her and give her my number, she doesn't text me. I mean, I don't know. I guess that's what happens when get famous. It could be that. I'm not tripping. I know who my real friends are." So clearly calling her out for the world to see. Danielle continued on that she's not sure if someone got in Billie's ear about her or if Billie's team thought associating with Danielle might just be a bad idea. Adding, quote, "Or she was getting too big to where she didn't want to associate herself with my brand. And that's perfectly fine. I understand that. But it sucks when you have a friend and they just disappear." Danielle continued that she's not mad about it, but mostly just sad and confused. Billie never commented on the situation. Next up, Tana Mongeau. Tana is a very controversial celebrity, so it makes sense that celebrities would unfollow her when she's in the midst of one of her, countless scandals. And sadly for Tana, that's exactly what Billie did. Tana and Billie seem to be very friendly online, with both of them frequently commenting on the other's Instagram photos. But that all changed when Tana got engaged and then suddenly married to fellow influencer Jake Paul. On Tana's engagement announcement post, Billie did not keep her opinions to herself, and Billie commented "eek" and then "yikes" on the photo, clearly showing her disapproval. Tana then DM'd Billie and asked if she would be coming to the wedding, to which Billie simply responded, "No." But the situation with them did not stop there, and Tana made sure to milk the situation for clout, as she always does. So Tana uploaded a YouTube video shortly after all this took place, called "Billie Eilish Unfollowed Me." In this satirical video, Tana shows that she's heartbroken from the unfollow and filmed a sad montage of herself crying while one of Billie's songs played in the background, which was even more dramatic considering Tana had recently filmed a video of herself copying Billie's clothes for a week. The whole thing was super overdramatic in true Tana fashion, but I guess it showed that Billie is not afraid to unfollow when needed. Next up, Simon Cowell. To me, Simon Cowell is one of the scariest people ever, and I have immense respect for anyone who's had to audition in front of him over the years, because we know that he is not afraid to speak his mind and will not sugarcoat the truth. While Simon has never shared his dislike of Billie using her name, it seems that Simon does not like her music. While Simon was judging on America's Got Talent, he made a point to tell two separate acts, one a Ukrainian dance group, another a dancer and contortionist, that he hated the music that they used. And guess what both groups had in common? They both used a Billie Eilish song in their performance. It was so clear that Howie Mandel even called out Simon for not liking Billie Eilish's music, to which Simon responded with a shrug that kinda read, "I don't care and I don't like your music." He didn't comment anything further, but he didn't deny the accusation that he didn't like Billie's music, so I think that kinda says it all. Next up, Van Halen. Billie offended the hard rock community when she didn't know who the band Van Halen was. This blunder took place on the Jimmy Kimmel Show when Billie was there speaking about her Grammy nominations. She was only 17 at the time, and Jimmy was amazed at how young that she was. So he started to grill her on older references to see what she knew. He asked her if she knew Madonna, Cyndi Lauper, or if she ever played with a Cabbage Patch Kid. But then Jimmy asked, quote, "Can you name a Van Halen?" It's not sure if he was referring to one of their songs or one of the band members' names. And Billie simply responded, quote, "Who?" To which Billie replied, "I'm gonna start crying." And obviously the band didn't publicly say that they didn't like her after that. However, there's a chance that they were pretty offended or even hurt that she had no idea who or what they were. I'm not a rock fanatic, but I definitely know who Van Halen is. I was shocked she had no idea who they were. Crazy. Next up, we got Tam York. This one is definitely not Billie's fault, however there is a chance that this encounter left York with a bad impression of Billie. So if you didn't know, York and Sam Smith have some beef. So so they most likely try to avoid each other when possible. However, on one fateful day, York attended a Billie show with his daughter in London, and so did Sam Smith. After the show, both artists came backstage to talk with Billie, and there was supposedly a bad backstage encounter, which sadly Billie got in the middle of. And since Billie is better friends with Sam Smith, I guess we can assume it might take some time for her to develop a friendship with Tam York. Next up, we got Lady Gaga. Billie and her brother Phineas got the attention of Lady Gaga's loyal fanbase, and I'm sure they regretted it. The pair did a video interview with Variety where they spoke about writing Bad Guy and being nominated for 6 Grammys. And near the end of the interview, the pair started talking about their love for the Grammys. Billie said, quote, "I grew up watching the Grammys, we all did. I used to judge all the girls' dresses. That's all I did, I barely paid any attention to the music." With Phineas then asking, quote, "Was the meat dress a Grammys event?" To which Billie simply replied, "Ugh, yikes." Clearly enough said to make Gaga's fans cancel Billie. But that wasn't all. Phineas then brought up Gaga's egg entrance to the Grammys as well, making fun of the artistic entrance. Because of these comments, the hashtag Billie Eilish is over party began trending, with Gaga's fans attacking Billie for her opinion. However, this opinion wasn't much of a shock to Billie's fans, as Billie is a proud vegetarian. And lastly, Billie Eilish herself. Usually when it comes to people exposing celebrities, it turns out the celebrities expose themselves the worst way. In the case of Billie, she's been embroiled in multiple scandals recently. This month, a video went viral where Billie was mocking an Asian accent, as well as mouthing the C word, the slur for Asian people. She also has been consistently called out for using a black scent and strongly emulating black culture. This scandal came just days after Billie's last scandal, where she was accused of queerbaiting. This accusation happened after Billie posted some behind-the-scenes footage from her Lost Cause music video, where there was only girls in the shot, and the caption on that was, quote, "I love girls." Many felt she was insinuating that she could be queer to gain attention for the song. However, others felt it could be her way of subtly coming out without putting a label on things. And not only has Billie been caught up in scandal, so has her new boyfriend, 29-year-old Matthew Tyler Vorse. He was exposed for tweeting racist and homophobic things in the past, and he recently apologized online. Wendy Williams is one of the biggest names in celebrity gossip, and people love her for her off-the-cuff comments about celebrity scandals. However, the unfiltered nature of her show can get her in a lot of trouble with the celebrities that she talks about on the show. I'm Mackenzie, and let's get into the celebrities who tried to warn us about Wendy Williams. But first, make sure to subscribe if you're new here. Firstly, we got Blac Chyna. Wendy Williams loves talking about the Kardashians, so when Rob Kardashian started seeing Blac Chyna, Wendy did not hold her tongue on what she thought Chyna's true intentions for the relationship were. Wendy made it clear she believes Chyna never loved Rob, she was only there for the money. She even claims that Chyna came, quote, "from a pull," and because of this she's always scheming, even including her mother Tokyo Toni in the conversation, claiming that Toni raised Chyna to be that way. Wendy said, quote, "It's very fun to watch she and her mom Tokyo Toni come up off the backs of people who don't see through their ruse." But Chyna did not take this lying down and clapped back on Instagram. Chyna wrote, quote, "Wendy, Wendy, Wendy, you lost your mother effing mind. How dare you speak on me, my fiance, and my mom like you were at the Christmas table with us. I find it so funny how you love to talk about Rob and his insecurities, like at one point in time you weren't a fat 400-pound person on the radio." Next up, Will Smith. Will Smith is considered an unproblematic king because he rarely gets into scandals or causes drama with other people, but he just couldn't hold his tongue on his disdain for Wendy Williams, and he decided to rap about her in one of his songs to try and get through to her. On the track, Mr. Nice Guy, Will Smith rapped, quote, "Wendy Williams, you don't know me. I'm not your punching bag. You gonna blow me up, girl, you better leave me alone before I buy your radio station and send you home." And Will is not the only musician who has called out Wendy in their music. Mariah Carey, Tupac, and Jay-Z have all made negative comments about Wendy in their songs. When Wendy was asked how it felt to have so many negative words about her in music, she responded, quote, "Without those song mentions, I might not be on TV right now. There's a large segment who may have never heard about me on the radio, but they heard Tupac tell me I needed to go to Jenny Craig, or Mariah Carey tell me that I'm up in her business, so I love them for that." Clearly, Wendy believes all press is good press. Next up, Jennifer Lawrence. After nude photos of Jennifer Lawrence were leaked to the public, Wendy discussed them on her show. At the time, Jennifer herself commented on the leak, saying that anyone who looked at the photos was committing an assault on her because they were only meant for her boyfriend at the time's eyes. Adding, quote, "It's my body and it should be my choice, and the fact that it's not my choice is absolutely disgusting." Wendy clapped back admitting that she had looked at the photos, saying quote, it's not your choice, it's the cloud and I've looked several times, so I guess I'm disgusting for looking? Then Wendy kind of victim shamed, saying that it was Jen's fault for taking the photos in the first place. Wendy added quote, besides Jen, you don't look bad under your clothes and I think the hackathon has actually made your career even hotter. Cause she was red hot before, but now it's like a heat-seeking missile hot, so hold your head up with pride. Next up, Keke Palmer. Keke Palmer called out Wendy Williams on her own show after Wendy did not support Keke in a feud with Trey Songz. Keke went on the show to promote her memoir, and while there, Wendy asked Keke for updates on her lawsuit against Trey Songz. The conflict between them was that Trey wanted to use footage of Keke in one of his music videos, and she didn't want to do that, and instead of respecting her wishes, he intimidated her and essentially tried to force a cameo in the music video. She actually hid in a closet while she waited for an Uber, and Trey used footage of her in the music video anyway. When asked about the situation, Keke told Wendy, quote, I don't want to keep browbeating on one situation, but I will say, Wendy, I would have loved to turn on your show and saw you a little more compassionate and less accusatory and ridiculing. Wendy quickly responded that she couldn't do that, and Keke clapped back, quote, why girl, because the gag is, you weren't even there. Keke continued that people like Wendy should not be promoting men putting women into intimidating situations that they don't want to be in. Next up, Swavey. The most recent thing that Wendy Williams got backlash for was her strange and insensitive comments talking about the murder of a TikTok star named Swavey. Wendy started off the segment saying that she had no idea who he was, and nobody in the audience would probably know either. Then she started talking about his TikTok followers and how he has more followers than her. Then her producer Norman chimed in that Wendy has more followers than him on Instagram, not TikTok. Then, out of nowhere, Wendy explains that the reason they're even talking about him is because he was recently killed. He died at the age of 19, and Wendy described the situation, while adding that nobody is currently in custody, so the case will most likely not be solved. This clip then went viral online, with people calling out Wendy for how strange and insensitive the segment was. Swavey's mother, Chanel Clark, told Philadelphia CBS 3 that she didn't appreciate Williams' commentary. She said, quote, like as a mother, Wendy Williams, how dare you? So disrespectful. I used to watch you as a child, and even though you have a gossip show and all that, you didn't even know my son. Next up, Beyonce. In 2012, Wendy did the unthinkable and decided to bash Beyonce on her show. Wendy was talking about Beyonce's HBO documentary and how excited she was to watch it, even calling herself a Beyonce fan. But then Wendy decided to bash Beyonce for no reason, adding, quote, I'm watching because fortunately one of the TVs in our kitchen has closed captioning, so I'll be able to understand what she says. You know, Beyonce can't talk. Beyonce sounds like she has a 5th grade education. She can't talk. Around that same time, Wendy also promoted a theory that Beyonce and Jay-Z had paid Rachel Roy to stir up drama ahead of the Lemonade album release. Wendy said, quote, so Rachel Roy, first of all, you're not this fighting girl, unless you're on Jay-Z and Beyonce's payroll and they pay you to mix it up for I guess sales for the Lemonade. After these comments against Beyonce, the Bayhive went crazy and started bashing Wendy online. Next up, Ariana Grande. In 2015, when Wendy was talking about the relationship between Big Sean and Ariana Grande, she decided to trash Ariana for her small stature. Wendy said, quote, she's 21, she'll forever look 12, and I don't mean that in a good way. It's nice to look younger than you are. When you look too young, then you're short. She's only like 4'11". I don't look at her as like a woman. After these comments, Wendy was called out for body shaming. The whole incident got so much backlash that hashtag cancel Wendy Williams started trending on Twitter afterwards. This was sadly not the last time Wendy trashed Ariana for how she looked, whether it be for her outfit choices or just her body in general. And lastly, Nicki Minaj. Nicki and Wendy have a long history, with both of them making remarks at the other over the years. But things were the worst after Wendy was speaking about Nicki's marriage to Kenneth Petty. This was after reports surfaced that Petty had served jail time for numerous crimes. Nicki called out Wendy during a segment of Queen Radio, saying, quote, it's not about doing your job. There are people who report the news and there are people who do it with an evil intent in their heart. Viciousness. And I pray for you because I know you're hurting and I know you must be sick and humiliated. Adding, quote, I didn't know that in our society you have to be plagued by your past. I didn't know that people can't turn over a new leaf. I didn't know that your viciousness and evilness was this deep rooted. Nicki then decided to take some punches of her own and called out Wendy for her own failed marriage that was plagued with cheating rumors throughout. adding quote, "But I understand why now. When a woman isn't really being loved at home, the viciousness is a different type. So I really wanted to pray for you today because look at where you are now in your life. Look at what age you are. You're sat up there being vicious all this time and paid for that man's mistress all these years." Lea Michele was exposed in 2020 for being terrible to work with. There were also allegations that she had been racist to a handful of her past co-workers. I'm Mackenzie, and let's get into the celebrities who tried to warn us about Lea Michele. But first, make sure to subscribe if you're new here. First up, we got Samantha Ware. Samantha Ware started the entire downfall of Lea Michele back in 2020 after she called out Michele for the way that she acted on the set of Glee. Ware appeared on season 6 of Glee, and she didn't get along well with Lea. When Lea Michele posted tweets in support of George Floyd after his passing, Ware decided to call out Michele on the hypocrisy. She commented, quote, "Remember when you made my first television gig a living hell?" adding that Michele was microaggressive towards her and even threatened to defecate in her wig, if you can believe that. Ware's experience with Michele was so bad that it made her question a career in the industry. Michele later apologized for her behavior, but Ware did not accept and told Lea to open her purse if she really wanted to help. Next up, Amber Riley. Amber Riley is another Glee cast member that had terrible things to say about Lea. Riley was a cast member for all 6 seasons of Glee, so she definitely knew the true Lea. After Samantha Ware's comments, Riley weighed in by posting some gifs of her sipping tea, clearly commenting on what was going on. Riley weighed in further during an interview on Real Quick with Danielle Young. She explained that she did not believe that Lea was racist, but she just believed that she was a stuck-up brat who was power tripping on everyone. However, Riley did say that just because Lea might not be a racist doesn't mean that race doesn't play a factor in these bad interactions. Adding, quote, "In my inbox there are a lot of black actors and actresses telling me their stories and letting me know that they have dealt with the same things on set, being terrorized by the white girls that are leads of the show." So clearly it's something that really needs to be discussed in the industry. Next up, Heather Morris. Glee's Heather Morris did not hold back when sharing her disdain of Lea. After Lea's behavior became a topic of conversation, Morris was shy at first, but later became very vocal against the star. Morris tweeted out that she didn't want to send more hate to Lea at the time, but she confirmed that Lea was very unpleasant to work with and was very disrespectful to everyone on set. And Morris believed that Lea needed to be called out for her behavior. When speaking about race, Morris said that she could not comment on if she thought Lea was racist, but that was the assumption at the time. Morris later revealed that while filming Glee, everyone was way too scared to speak up to the Fox executives. However, she's glad it's a different time and there's more of a demand for respect on set, saying, quote, "We absolutely could have stepped up and gone to the Fox execs and said how we really felt about the situation, and no one really did. Now we're living in a culture where it's acceptable to do things like that, whereas I think many people were very scared." Next up, Yvette Nicole Brown. Yvette Nicole Brown and Lea Michele starred in a short-lived show on ABC called The Mayor. And even though Brown is never involved in Hollywood drama, she spoke up about her time with Michele after Samantha Ware publicly tweeted out against her. Brown responded to Ware's initial tweet, writing, quote, "I felt every one of those capital letters. Every person on a set matters. Every person on a set deserves respect. And it's the responsibility of every series regular to make every person who visits their home feel welcome. This dismissive attitude is what's wrong in Hollywood and the world." And although Brown never mentioned Lea by name here, many assume that Michele exhibited the same behavior on the set of that show, and that's what caused her to speak out. Brown also spoke about her time on the hit show Community, saying the experience was not as toxic, with Brown saying that someone defecating in her wig was something that never would have been said on the Community set. And thank God for that. Gerard Canatico. Gerard Canatico worked alongside Michele when they were an understudy in the play Spring Awakening. Canatico actually commented on Lea Michele's Instagram apology after she started receiving tons of backlash. However, his comment was suspiciously deleted. Wonder what happened. So he commented again, writing, quote, "My first comment seems to have been deleted, so I'll try again. You were nothing but a nightmare to me and fellow understudy cast members. You made us feel like we didn't belong there. I tried for years to be nice to you to no avail. Maybe actually apologize instead of placing the blame on how others, quote, perceive you. You'll probably just delete this though." This comment clearly taking a shot at the part in Michele's apology where she said that people perceived their negative experiences with her. Next up, Abigail Breslin. Abigail Breslin and Lea Michele worked alongside each other in the show Scream Queens. If you haven't seen it, it's actually one of my favorite shows. Breslin is probably the most high-profile actor to speak out against Michele. However, since Breslin did not want to get caught up in drama, she decided to like some negative tweets about Michele instead, basically in order to get her point across but not actually speak out directly. Breslin liked a tweet that said, quote, "Not everyone agreeing that something felt off about Lea Michele. Where have y'all been? I've been saying this for years. I thought I was alone." So clearly Breslin agreed with the sentiment that something felt off about Lea, and people tried to speak up about it for years. Next up, Naya Rivera. Naya Rivera was the only person that had the guts to share their feelings about Lea Michele before she was exposed by Samantha Ware. The two worked alongside each other for all seasons of Glee, so Rivera got an inside look into Michelle's true character. The two actually got into a big fight on set in 2014, and Rivera exposed it in her memoir that was published in 2016. Rivera says the two started off as friends, but over time they started to hate each other. Rivera believed this was partially because her character of Santana moved from a background character to a main one over time, and Michele didn't like sharing the spotlight. A few years later, it seemed that the two had partially made up, and on a 2019 episode of Watch What Happens Live, Rivera said that her and Michele had no bad blood, and she even liked Michelle's Instagram engagement post. However, it's wild to hear that she had such a bad experience with Michele, especially being a woman of color. And lastly, Elizabeth Aldrich. Broadway actress Elizabeth Aldrich was Lea Michele's understudy in the Broadway show Ragtime. This was early in both their careers, and even as a child, apparently Michele was a nightmare to work with. Aldrich shared a statement on Twitter along with a picture of both of them as children. Aldrich said in part that Michele was awful to work with, adding, quote, "She demeaned the crew and threatened to have people fired if she was in any way displeased. I used to cry every night from the mean and manipulative things she would do. She was 12. She was terrifying." Aldrich went on to say that she's no longer in the acting world, but she wanted to share her story of working with Michele to validate other people's stories about her. Aldrich also added that she hopes that becoming a mother changes Lea's behavior. With all the recent talk surrounding Demi Lovato's negative attitude and entitlement issues, we thought it was the perfect time to break down all the celebrities who tried to warn us about Demi in the past. I'm Mackenzie, and let's get into the celebrities who tried to warn us about Demi Lovato. But first, make sure to subscribe if you're new here and want to see more. Selena Gomez. Selena Gomez and Demi Lovato have had a very rocky relationship over the last decade, and at this point it's safe to say the former BFFs are not even close. They first became friends when they were 7 years old and acting on Barney and Friends. Their friendship continued into their teens when they were both Disney stars, and they publicly told the world that they were BFFs. But their friendship started to strain when Selena started to make new friends, namely Taylor Swift. The strain became obvious in 2010 when a fan asked Demi how Selena was, and Demi replied, quote, "Ask Taylor Swift." Lovato also did some other interviews around that time, stating that their friendship was drifting. The pair then had an on and off decade where they would be best friends one year and then seemingly hate each other the next. The pair also frequently followed and then unfollowed one another on social media. It seems that over the years Selena has tried to make amends with Demi, but Demi is the one keeping the strain on their relationship. But since Demi is known for cutting friends off, it seems that they are most likely the problem. Taylor Swift. Leading in from our last point, we have Taylor Swift. I'm not sure that Demi and Taylor ever had much of a friendship, but they became enemies after Demi savagely called out Taylor for taking Selena from them. But that one incident I discussed earlier was just the beginning. Demi also unnecessarily bashed Taylor after she donated $250,000 to Kesha during her legal battle with Dr. Luke. Lovato wrote on Instagram, quote, "Not everyone has $250,000 to just give to people. Would love to, but I didn't grow up with money and definitely haven't made as much as her. At least I speak up about things that's uncomfortable to talk about rather than trying to be politically correct 24/7. Then going on to say that Swift just uses women empowerment to further her brand, but won't have the uncomfortable conversations publicly. Taylor never commented on the situation, but it didn't stop Demi from doing so. A few months later, Demi told Refinery29 that they don't like people in the industry who brand themselves as feminist, but don't do the work. Adding later, quote, "I think that having a song in a video about tearing Katy Perry down, that's not women's empowerment," clearly insinuating that they were talking about Taylor. Taylor continued to take the high road, but Demi decided to keep making enemies in the industry. Nicki Minaj. This one's honestly hilarious. Nicki and Demi were both Moschino designer Jeremy Scott's guests at the 2016 Met Gala, so they all went as a group. After the event, Nicki posted a photo online with all three of them, but she only tagged Jeremy Scott in the photo, not Demi. Demi then lashed out on social media, tweeting, quote, "When you aren't mentioned in a post but didn't do to the person, then posting their own photo of Minaj glaring at them, where Minaj looks to be annoyed at Demi. Demi later clarified that they were not trying to shade Nicki, more so just make fun of the night in general. However, months later, it turned out that was not the case, and Demi did an interview where they said that they had such a bad experience at the Met Gala, they wanted to actually drink that night, which led Demi to go to an AA meeting that night. Nicki never addressed the beef, but I'm sure she was more than a little ticked off. Obviously, we have no idea what actually happened between them at the event. I mean, some bad stuff could have went down, but not tagging Demi in the photo definitely didn't warrant that kind of response. Mariah Carey. Mariah Carey is the last person that anyone would want to get in a fight with, but Demi still managed to feud with her anyways. Although I will say it was pretty one-sided. In 2016, Lovato commented on a meme that basically said that Ariana Grande is the budget version of Mariah Carey, writing, quote, "You got it the wrong way around, honey. Mariah is a legend and so talented, but constantly disses people. It's so nasty the way she treats Jennifer Lopez. Ari did nothing wrong." Adding in another comment, quote, "The woman is mean for no reason. Extremely talented, yes. Superhuman, possibly. Unnecessarily rude, absolutely." Carey never responded to the shade publicly until Andy Cohen asked her about it months later. Carey responded, quote, "I don't know her either." And so I wouldn't say anything to her. She should come up, introduce herself to me, say, "Here's my opinion, what do you think about it?" That's how you handle shit, okay? And I have to say, I mean, Mariah is absolutely right. Also, the "I don't know her" comment just so much better after referencing Jennifer Lopez. It was like an infamous, reference that with their feud, Carey didn't know her. Stalker Sarah. Stalker Sarah was a huge Instagram influencer many years ago that was known for stalking celebrities and getting pictures with all of them. One of these celebrities was Demi Lovato. In 2016, Sarah posted a photo with Demi with the caption, quote, "Having a blast at Dallas Lovato's showcase with my girl Demi Lovato. So proud of my babes." She also mentioned Lovato's younger sister, Madison de la Garza, several times. But Demi ended up completely lashing out at the friendly caption and replied, quote, "I'm not your effing girl. If I was, you wouldn't be asking for pictures. You stalk people for a living. We are not friends. Get a job. This is my 14-year-old baby sister. She's not your babe." With Demi continuing that their family was not afraid to press charges. Fans were completely shocked to see what Demi had written to a fan, calling it completely out of line. Demi's sister seemed to think so too and privately DM'd Sarah, writing, quote, "Sarah, I'm so sorry about what's going on. I'm so disgusted. I can't tell you how embarrassed I am for what's going on." Zendaya. Demi Lovato also took aim at Zendaya back in the day and called out the actor for a line that she said in a TV show. While Zendaya was starring on Disney's Shake It Up in 2013, Zendaya said an eating disorder joke on the show and Demi bashed her online for saying it. Demi also made a comment about Zendaya and joked that Disney actresses were getting thinner and thinner and that they missed the days of Lizzie McGuire and That's So Raven. Zendaya didn't end up responding to the nasty comment, however, her father did. Her dad tweeted to Demi that they should apologize to Zendaya for the comment, saying that his daughter looks up to Demi and they shouldn't send her hate. Lovato later apologized but made another swipe at Zendaya's body years later when they tweeted negatively about Zendaya getting her own Barbie doll, saying that they needed to make a curvy doll instead. Backup dancer. So this story is really insane and I had no idea that it happened until I was researching for this video. Demi made headlines in 2010 when one of their backup dancers exposed that Demi punched them in the face. According to People, while Lovato was on tour with the Jonas Brothers, they were acting up. After Demi got a talking to from the tour manager, they demanded to know who ratted them out. Demi then got the idea that their backup dancer, Alex Welch, was the one that snitched and allegedly ended up punching them in the face. In late December of 2010, People reported that Welch and Lovato reached a settlement for an undisclosed sum for the incident. But obviously, violence is never the answer. Just want to put that out there. So that's all for the list, guys. Let me know your thoughts below. But before I go, I'm going to shout out some comments from celebrities that defended Britney Spears. Thomas said her current boyfriend has celebrity status because of her. I don't trust him. Perez Hilton is a toxic human being who blasts everyone and then tries to play goody-goody defending her. I do agree we can't totally trust Sam Asghari because, he might have bad intentions himself. I don't think we should 100% trust him, but at least he is supporting her. And yeah, Perez is definitely just apologizing for the cameras. I don't feel that he actually means it. Then Wendy said, of course, Kim has to make it about her. I did see a lot of people comment that I didn't really feel that she was making it about her, more just relating it to her situation. But yeah, I guess she kind of was talking about herself. Then Kathleen said, let's talk about how young Britney started making money for her family. Do you think they will let that money cow go? Of course they won't. Britney deserves to be able to make her own choices. If she wasn't raking in the money, her family wouldn't be doing this. They would cut her loose. It's unfortunate, but it's probably true. What if your daughter is so mentally, let's say, ill that she can't even like control her own life, buy her own clothes, whatever, why should she be responsible for performing all these shows? It's so crazy, and it really just proves how greedy that they are. Just clearly it's like, oh, they want to work her and then be able to control her, like legally force her to work for them. And then that's it. It's insane. Alright guys, that's all for the video today. Thanks so much for sticking around if you made it all the way here. If you liked the video and want to see more, make sure to like and subscribe to the channel below. I've been your host, Mackenzie Smith. Make sure to check us out on social media, and I will catch you all in the next one.